Guess what? $637 billion were awarded to small businesses according to the SBA. But only 1.5% of that billions of dollars were awarded to Black businesses. Welcome to the Executive Innovation Show. I'm your host, Shevvy. And as your business development and SBIR consultant, I help tech founders like yourself to break into the federal market with strategy and submit SBIR merit-worthy proposal submissions so that you can grow a sustainable company and not burn it out. So welcome to the Executive Innovation Show. And if you're a tech founder, this is the place for you because we're really focused on helping you to break into the federal market so that you can, get innovation grants for your money and also step into that leadership to lead and grow your business sustainably. And today we're talking about positioning your company for federal opportunities. And what I'm going to share today is not only just for federal opportunities, but really any type of opportunities that you can tap into to grow your business, whether that's at the state level, the county level. Yes, my focus is federal, but I do support individuals who are looking for different opportunities in different ways. So come on in to the Executive Innovation Show. And if you're joining me for the first time, thank you so much for joining me. Drop a 1 in the chat to let me know that you are a first timer so that I can celebrate you, so that I can welcome you. And also, I do invite you to join me on my other platforms, YouTube. I'm here on LinkedIn. I go here every Wednesday. Usually it's at 1 o'clock Central, but today I'm going a little bit earlier. We're here early in the morning. That lets you know, hey, I'm showing up for you. I am committed and I'm consistent, okay? But you can also follow me on YouTube, at my YouTube channel at the Executive Innovation Show, but also you can catch me on Facebook as well. So as you all come in, say hello, say good morning, say good afternoon. Let me know where you're joining from. And like I said, if this is your first time joining me, drop a 1 in the chat so that I can celebrate you, my friend, okay? So welcome. So when you heard those numbers that I just, stated, we're talking about $637 billion just last year. This is according to the SBIR because they gather data, they're tracking, what company got awarded, and out of that $637 billion, only 1.5% were awarded to Black businesses. So why is that? We know there's many different factors. There's many different things that, whether it's political, whether it's knowledge, resources, awareness, quality as well too. So there's a lot of different factors that goes into that. But I want to share my experience and, share with you how you as a tech founder can tap into the federal market by positioning yourself the right way without doing all the things, because you have to take risks. And I want to share with you my experience attending the Sloss Tech conference last week. I'm just going to give you a quick wrap up on how these individuals who participated in the pitch competition took a risk, because it's not about just being in the room, y'all. Like, it's not about just being in the room. That's just only a part of it. Like attending a conference, that's just a part of it. Going somewhere, that's just a piece of the pie because you're just attending. It's about creating opportunities when you're there. And yes, opportunities does happen in the room, but also, again, like I stated, only 1.5% of federal contracting funds were awarded to Black businesses. So it was let me get my numbers right, 9.8 billion. So less than 10 billion. And we're talking $637 billion, y'all. So in order to really position yourself, like I said, it's not being in the room, it's how do you create opportunities? And that comes with positioning yourself. And with the pitch competition, which was amazing, okay? Amazing. Before I get into that, welcome. Good morning, Queen. Yes, be safe on the road, but thank you for joining. We have the Slay Queen here on LinkedIn. And like I said, introduce yourself, where you're joining from, but also let us know or, let me know what you do, but also if this is your first time, drop it one in the chat. So I want to share very quickly. So with the competition, I really enjoyed it. It was 4 categories. They had, the food category. They had, biotech category. They had, technology. They have, 4 categories, 16 founders, and great pitches. And one thing about what I saw from sitting in the room, being in the audience, was these founders took a risk. Part of positioning is taking that risk and trusting yourself to go beyond the norm, because the norm is to attend, the norm is to have conversation, the norm is to connect. But in order to separate yourself and position yourself uniquely and differently is to do something different. And those founders did something different by participating. And one, they made the decision to say, hey, I'm going to participate in this competition. Was it probably scary for some of them? Of course. When anyone that gets, not everyone, but some people, most people, when they get up and speak in front of an audience, it's nerve-wracking. It can be, create anxiety, a lot of different things. But they took a risk and they trusted themselves to say, you know what? I have a vision. I have something that is worth other people knowing about, and I'm going to share it in a room of 1,000+ people. Because it was over, according to what they stated, the CEO, 1,600 people register and attended. So you're looking at, not saying all 16 was at the pitch competition, but you're looking at a room full of people hearing something that these founders created, launch, and are looking for funding to get to the next milestone. So now them being on stage, because again, it's not about being in the room only. It's looking at how can you get in front of your ideal clients where you are the one speaking about your innovation, about your business. And they did that last week. And by doing that, they position themselves for winning the pitch competition in the different categories. And even the main person who innovation I thought was amazing, of really looking at things that they can do to cure type 1 diabetes, which I was like, wow. Instead of having to depend on current, solution that they have right now. And that person was able, that company, not just a person, the company was able to be awarded $50,000 to get to the next milestone within their innovation. And then also they had the People Choice Award, because now we as the audience, the ones who are sitting in the room, are now given a voice to who is the People Person Award, with that person getting $10,000 because we voted. Again, it's not about just being in the room, but also being on the stage, because by them being in the room, they were able to get visibility, because positioning is about visibility. And most tech founders like yourself, you are visible to some degree, but not to the full extent that you need to be, because you are building, you are creating, you're serving clients. You don't have the capacity to be out here all the time, but you may have someone on your team, like a BD, business development consultant, who is out here on your behalf, speaking on behalf of your company. There will be someone like me who is going out to conferences like the Sloss Tech, and not only thinking about why I am there, but also how can my client leverage these different opportunities? How can my client get on the stage and be more visible to where he or she can come and speak about their what they're doing and the impact that they are making? So it's really about positioning and getting on the stage level, not just in the room. Because these individuals, these founders, they got funding, they got visibility, they got people who are now, who wasn't aware of what they were doing. Because I know for a fact, I was not aware of any of these founders, but now I know who they are. I know what they are, innovating. I know what they're looking for, what opportunities. So, and it's going to be put out there on social. So they have more content, free content coming out as well too. So again, you have to position yourself by getting uncomfortable, taking risks, and trusting yourself to get on those stages and get out of the room. But if you don't have that person you don't have the time to do that, then you need to look at who can I bring in, or who can I leverage on my team, because you don't have to be the one on the stage. It could be someone else speaking on behalf of your company, who is invested in your company. You don't want just anyone. You want to make sure that you have the right person or yourself. But I would say you need to be that person. So I wanted to share that experience, and it was great to see. And also, even during that, I will say, going back to the 1.5%, that's a gap. That is a big gap. And I would have loved to see more Black founders on stage, to be honest. There were, a couple women there, which was amazing to see. Love their pitches. So it was like, wow. But I would love to see more Black tech founders, not just sitting in the room, but you are actually on the stage pitching your company and trusting yourself to say, hey, even though you may not have won the competition, guess what? You got the visibility, and you never know who is in the audience, listening and looking and say, you know what? I might want to invest into this specific company. You never know. So there's a gap. And as I mentioned earlier, there's a gap for many different resources, many different reasons. But it's time to change that vision, that narrative, because the more I dive into this, y'all, like seriously, I do have, a, technology background. I have an MBA with an emphasis in IT management when I graduated from Webster University back in 2010. So that's 50 years ago, because that's when I was pregnant with my son. But I digress. But the more I dive into the space, honestly, I am loving, the vision that I see for J3M Consulting. I'm loving, because even during the pitch competition, you want to be inspired as a tech founder. You position yourself, going to these things is not just being in the room, it's being inspired to take risks, to take opportunities. And I even said to myself, I can start a tech company. Even though in this moment, I am currently supporting tech founders and I'm enjoying it. I'm like, you know what? Maybe I can, become a tech founder, and that could be something in the future. There will be more like in the educational realm, because I love to teach, I love to develop. But again, it's about positioning yourself for opportunities. And those 16 founders did that during the tech conference, the SLOS conference. So love that. So another thing that when it comes to positioning your company for federal opportunities, like I said, it's not only for federal, this is in any capacity, my friend. It's about exposure. We kind of talked about that. Like, how are you showing up and position your company yourself? Because again, you're the brand for your company. And, we have the Slay Queen here who talks all things brand and really stepping in and owning the room. And maybe I'll have her on the show to really speak on that, of how you as a tech founder can elevate your brand, your company, to create opportunities. So plug that in, Queen. Okay. Because when you have that exposure, you are shifting pipelines into action, because now you're more visible. People are seeing you're having, conversation that are actually leading to opportunities. Okay. Because the goal is to tap into those opportunities. And with the federal opportunities, it's building those relationships with individuals in the room as well. Because leaving and, attending a conference and leaving the conference, hopefully you're following up, because that is part of positioning yourself for federal opportunities. Following up, and exposure. Because let me talk a little bit about exposure very quickly. I will say this, and this is based on my truth, and just honestly, yes, I'm retired Air Force. Yes, I understand government contracting. Yes, I understand how it operates, but it's a little different on the outside. So I had some learning curves as well too, but I did a lot of research. I invested money as well too, but I don't mind, because I want to learn and I want to make sure that I understand the process so that I can support my client to the full extent. But there are things out there that we are not aware of, especially as a Black company, tech founder, Black CEO who is looking to navigate into the federal market. There's a lot of things that I have learned since transitioning out of the military. Queen said, okay, yes, about her coming on the show. And we can discuss. So the exposure aspect, is a lot of people may not know of a lot of different opportunities and resources that are out there. Because I would say this, when it comes to SBIR, which is Small Business Innovation Research, and STTR, Small Technology Transfer, these are two programs that are available for research and development. And honestly, I was never aware of these two programs. I've never heard of it until last year. And the reason I learned about that, because I had a conversation with someone else who was is a consultant, has been a consultant for the last 30 plus years, and she had supported individuals with research and development opportunities. And I had to do my own research. And when I started sharing about SBIR with my counterparts, with individuals, other Black, founders in the tech space, they had no clue what it was. So I started educating these individuals on, hey, this is what it is. Here's an opportunity for you. And then they started looking at how they can leverage that. So a lot of it is not knowing what's out there. And what I do is identifying opportunities for, my tech founders or non-tech founders that they can leverage to tap into, the funds to grow their businesses, and also their innovation, which impacts the environment, people X, Y, and Z. But it's about exposure. It's about positioning. And you can't just be behind building. You have to have someone on your team to support you to execute in this capacity on your behalf. So positioning takes time, but also you want to make sure that it is quality. Okay. So we don't have to, just be in the room all the time, just attend all the time. How can you position yourself to be on that stage again? How can you position yourself to tap into opportunities that you were not aware of? Like, let me know in the comments. Let me know when it comes to tapping into the federal market or breaking into the federal market. Like, what is your number one challenge? And my 5-year-old, y'all, is calling me. So that means it's time for me to wrap up. So I want to say, as a tech founder or non-tech founder, like if you're looking to break into the federal market and you're like, Shevvy, I have no clue. Maya, give me 1 second, okay? I'll be right there.
I thought you.
Yes, y'all. So my 5-year-old is here. 5-year-old is here. She just got up. So I'm going to get going so I can get her ready for summer camp. But as I was saying, if you're a tech founder or non-tech founder and you're like, hey, Shevvy, I want to break into the federal market, but I have no clue. I don't have the time. I don't have the team. I don't have the tolerance to go through all the complexity of all the things. Then I invite you to just, connect with me. You can send me a DM, or you can click the link in the description of this live and book a call. This is just a conversation just to understand you, your vision, and see and learn how I can support you. But before I go, I want to invite you to drop in the comments, what is the number one challenge that you have experienced or you feel is keeping you from breaking into the federal market? Because I want to know. So thank you for joining me. And as always, let's position yourself for sustainable growth and tapping into the federal market. I'm Shevvy, your host. And as your business development and SBIR consultant, I help tech founders like yourself to tap into the federal market with strategy and submit SBIR merit-worthy proposal so that you can grow a sustainable business without burning out. So thank you for joining me. I will see you all next Wednesday. And as the Executive Innovation Show host, this is where innovation meets funding and execution meets leadership, y'all. Have an amazing Wednesday, and let me go get this 5-year-old ready because she is like, let's go. All right, y'all. See y'all later.